Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia. Welcome back to the Overwatch League Roundup 2020 Playoffs Meta Preview. So it's finally time. Yeah, it's finally time. This Thursday, the playoffs will kick off for the Overwatch League for 2020. The regular season has been and gone. And we have a meta preview to do because we have had, in the past 2 weeks, a hero pool. And during that hero pool, we have also had a pretty major patch pushed to live servers of Overwatch, which will now take effect in the playoffs, which has had some major changes, which could have a massive impact on what we see played compared to what we've seen for actually the entire rest of the previous 29 weeks of the season. And it also it might not have an impact. So yeah, this is an interesting one, and it's actually a really difficult one to call for a variety of reasons. But first of all, let's take a look at the heroes that are coming back in. So, week 28 and week 29 saw Genji, Tracer, Zarya and Brigitte banned. And they were no longer able to be picked. Genji was meta before this, but he had some nerfs going into that, and so it wasn't surprising we didn't see him anyway. But Tracer was pretty good, Zarya was pretty good, and Brigitte was pretty good. But this could change somewhat going into this new patch, because this new patch that the Overwatch League will be playing on for its playoffs will be the patch that buffed Roadhog, and has made a very interesting meta in competitive ladder right now, where we see no main tank, but we do see a Roadhog and a Zarya. So there is a debate up for this, and we will talk about it in a minute. Obviously there will be no hero pool in playoffs, we've known that for quite a while, so we don't have to worry about heroes being banned and such. Now, these heroes coming back, I don't expect too much Genji. I'm not gonna lie, his damage nerfs have really kind of poo-pooed him. That's just the way it is, and Blizzard are doing these very big changes in quick succession, so yeah, I don't expect Genji to do much. Tracer is a pick that I think will always be a great pick in certain circumstances, and we may go back to some more Ashe Tracer. But there's a lot of up in the air about this and what might go on. Now, on the other hand, Zarya I'm expecting still to be strong in a variety of circumstances as well. Because if we go into Hog Zarya, obviously Zarya is going to be very powerful in that. We may see Winston Zarya, which we saw a little while back. That may happen. Some teams have gravitated towards Winston Diva while Zarya has not been available, and Zarya may step back into that role to bubble the Winston as he goes in, so that is another possibility that we might see. Brigitte, however, has had some significant nerfs, and this might cause an issue for Brigitte's pick time in the Overwatch League. I wouldn't be surprised if that sees a decrease and we see more Lucio. We also might see more Zen, we might see more Bap, but it kind of depends on the Hog situation. I think Bap really suffers if Hog becomes meta. And this is the biggest question I have about this entire meta coming into the Overwatch League playoffs, because I've heard things that, like, okay, so this competitive meta we have right now with Zarya and Hog, it is not particularly team-based. It is not particularly high on comms and teamwork, and very often you'll find the Hog doing his own thing, Zarya doing her own thing, and it all kind of becomes this messy brawl, and it's been likened to deathmatch. And, well, do we expect that in the Overwatch League? I don't think so. We're not going to see teams want to just abandon all teamwork and play deathmatch, basically. So, will the Overwatch League generate its own bubble meta and sit in its own little bubble, have its own little meta that's really high on teamwork, like perhaps back in the GOATS days, and it'll be different to what we see on ladder? I think that's a distinct possibility. The other thing is, will it contain Hog? Because Hog has his one shot hook combo back, and that's incredibly powerful. But we do have the issue that Hog has always had, and that's the fact he's an ult battery. He's a massive ult battery, and will Overwatch League teams abuse that if he was to be used? That is a possibility. Also, if we were to go to Zarya Roadhog, it would be a field day for hit scan DPS in the league, because then you are generally forced into playing an Ana. And Ana is something I wanted to discuss as well, because she is generally going to be very strong either way. And you generally have an Ana to combat that hog. That Ana is going to be super squishy because of those DPS picks. Widow, Ashe, even a McCree, even a Soldier, but to less extent Soldier, because he's like the worst hit scan DPS in the game. But those heroes are going to have a field day if we have no barriers. And so this might put Overwatch League teams off. So the tank line for me is really, really, really difficult to judge. Really difficult. And I honestly don't know which avenue it will go down. So this is probably the hardest meta preview of the entire season, because I can't just concrete come down and say, yeah, it's going to be Zarya Hog. Well, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be massive. The whole meta's changed. It's going to be double off tank. It will suit the Philadelphia Fusion because they got Poker and Fury. Blah, 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 blah. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. I still think barriers will be a thing in the Overwatch League because of the level of quality that hit scan DPS players have in the Overwatch League. Remember, we're talking about the likes of Carpe, Lip, even Glister at someone like the London Spitfire. We've got tons of ANS as well at the San Francisco Shock. We've got tons of DPS hit scan talent. And those players will have a field day if there's no barriers on the field, and supports will become super squashy. So, do I expect the meta that is currently in competitive to be transferred and transplanted straight into the Overwatch League? I have very significant doubts it will. I think there is a distinct possibility that we don't actually see a massive meta shift. That we see Zarya Winston, or we see Zarya Diva, Winston Diva, and we stick in that more dive sort of meta, because Hog just can't get enough value to kind of... Okay, so it's like a balancing act with Hog, and he never gets his balancing act right. He can't get enough value to off-put the value that he gives to the enemy teams through ult charge. And that is the issue that Hog may have in the Overwatch League, and has always had. But there is the flip side of things where Overwatch League teams may think that that one-shot hook combo is just so powerful that it cannot be dismissed, because it is great at opening fights. Also, there is the caveat of Orisa. Orisa, she'll be going into this, I believe, with her 4-meter radius halt. So I think that's a really tough one. If she still had a decent radius on her halt, I would have said Orisa Roadhog maybe, and we go into Halt Hook. But I don't think Halt is powerful enough anymore to justify Orisa. Could we see Reinhardt as a Hog? Reinhardt Hog? Maybe. Maybe. It depends. And this is the big thing. And this is the big thing I can't even answer. How much do the Overwatch League teams actually value this buff to Hog for his one-shot hook combo? That is what is going to define the meta in the playoffs for the Overwatch League. And I don't know. If they don't value it, then the meta won't change all that much. Zarya Winston, Diva Winston, stuff like that. Probably a lot of Sombra, Ashe, Tracer. It'll be stuff like that. But if they value that Halt Hook, if they value the hook combo, then things change, and the water becomes a lot more murky and a lot more difficult to predict. So there is so much up in the air, and this is a very major shift possibly in meta that we will see going into the playoffs, and it will have probably a very significant impact on teams. As I said, if we do go to double off-tank, then it benefits people like the Philadelphia Fusion with the amount of off-tank talent they have. It is bonkers. It will also benefit, obviously, those hit scan DPS players. Those Carpes, those Arms, people like that, Lip, even Fletter to a certain extent, because he's got a great Widowmaker on him. It'll benefit those players so well. Decay, Washington Justice as well. It will be a massive boom for teams with really good hit scan DPS. But if we stick to what we've seen more of recently, then it's not going to be too much different. Shanghai is still going to be fairly dominant. It's a very difficult one to call. This is the most difficult meta preview all season. Really, really is. And I am so interested in the way in which it pans out on Thursday. But tomorrow we will be taking a look ahead at those fixtures we will be seeing for these playoffs. It is time for the play-ins and playoffs. It's going to be super duper interesting and I can't wait. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you'd like to give a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. See you then.